You just hit publish. The page is live. You can open it in your browser right now. So you search for it on Google. Nothing. Now, why? Maybe Google hasn't found the page yet. Maybe it found it but didn't store it. Or maybe it stored it and just didn't rank it for that search. Three completely different reasons. Because Google isn't one machine that simply sees your page, it's a pipeline. A page normally has to pass three separate gates before its content can properly appear and compete in search: crawling, indexing, ranking. Finding your page, storing your page, and showing your page are three different events. Let's watch a single URL make the whole trip. Here's the whole journey. Fast. A link is discovered, the URL waits in line, a bot fetches it, the server answers, HTML comes back, a browser renders it, the page gets analyzed and filed away. And later, when someone searches, it competes for a spot. That's it. Now let's rewind and open each stage up. Start at the very beginning. There is no master list of the web, no central registry of every page that exists. So, Google can only know about a page in a few ways. Someone links to it from a page Google already crawls. You hand Google a map of your site, a sitemap, literally a file listing your URLs. Or Google has simply seen that URL before. That's it. This is why links aren't just for humans clicking around. To a crawler, links are roads. They're how it travels from a page it knows to a page it doesn't. A brand new page with nothing pointing at it is an island. Google has no road to reach it. This first step even has a name: URL discovery. But discovering a URL doesn't mean visiting it. Not yet. Every URL Google finds drops into a waiting list. The crawl queue, millions of URLs lined up. Google decides what to fetch, how often, and how much. So your page might sit in that line for a while. Discovered is not the same as crawled. When your URL's turn finally comes, Googlebot, that's the crawler, doesn't just barge in. First, it checks one file, robots.txt. Think of it as a sign posted at the front door of your site. It tells crawlers where they're allowed to go and where they're not. If that file says don't crawl this, Googlebot obeys. It won't even make the request. Remember this file. It's the source of one of the most common SEO mistakes, and we'll come back to it. Access allowed. Googlebot sends the request, and the server answers with a status code. This tiny number decides what happens next, and it's worth actually knowing. 200 means OK. Here's the page. Come on in. 301 means moved permanently. This page lives at a new address now. Google treats that as a strong signal that the new URL should replace the old one. And over time, ranking signals can pass to the destination. 404 means not found. There's nothing here. So Google eventually drops it. And 500 means the server is struggling. If Google keeps hitting server errors, it does something considerate. It reduces its crawl rate to avoid piling more pressure on a site that's already hurting. So the crawler isn't blindly downloading, it's reacting to every answer the server gives. Status codes steer the whole trip. On a 200, Googlebot downloads the HTML. And here's where it gets clever. It reads through that HTML looking for links. Every link it finds becomes a new URL, which goes right back into the crawl queue. The crawl feeds itself. One page leads to 3 more, which lead to 10 more. This is one reason internal linking matters so much. Links help crawlers discover pages, and they help Google understand how the pages on your site relate to each other. Pages you never link to may simply never get found. But Google doesn't stop at the downloaded HTML. Pages that return a successful response are generally queued for rendering. On a server-rendered page, most of the content might already be sitting right there in the HTML. But on a JavaScript-heavy site, that downloaded HTML can be little more than an empty shell. The words, the products, the prices, only appear after code runs. So, the page takes a detour into a second queue, the render queue. When Google has the resources to spare, it loads the page and runs its JavaScript in a headless evergreen Chromium environment, similar to Chrome. Only now does the finished page exist. And notice, this can wait, sometimes seconds, sometimes longer. Two queues, not one. One to fetch, one to render. And that gap is exactly why a JavaScript heavy page can be crawled and still have its content go unseen for a while. Step back and look at the shape of it. Fetch, extract links, the render, extract more links, and every link loops right back to the start. Now the rendered page reaches gate 2, indexing. This is where Google actually tries to understand the page. It reads the text, the title, the headings, the image descriptions, figures out what the page is about, and files that understanding into the index. The index is a gigantic library of information Google has processed about pages. Built so it can search through them in an instant. But here's the part people miss. Crawling and indexing are not the same gate. Google can crawl your page perfectly and then decide not to store it. Maybe the content's thin. Maybe it's a near duplicate of another page. Maybe you told it not to. Being visited is not being remembered. Plenty of crawled pages never make it into the index at all. One big reason a page gets skipped: duplicates. The same content often lives at several URLs. With and without the www, HTTP, and HTTPS versions. A clean link and one with tracking junk stuck on the end. To a human, one page. To Google, several. So during indexing, Google groups these lookalikes together and picks just one to represent them: the canonical. That's the version that shows up in search. You can raise your hand and say, "This one's the original," with a canonical tag. But that's a strong suggestion, not a command. Redirects, internal links, and consistency all vote too. Give mixed signals, and Google picks for you. Now back to that front door file, robots.txt. Here's the trap. People block a page in robots.txt to keep it out of Google, then panic when it shows up in search anyway. How? Because robots.txt controls crawling, not indexing. If another site links to your blocked URL, Google can list the URL itself, a bare link, no description, even though it was never allowed to read the page. And then the fix people reach for makes it worse. They add a noindex tag to that same blocked page. But Google can't see the noindex because robots.txt told it not to crawl the page in the first place. So, to truly remove a page, you do the opposite. You let Google crawl it so it can read the noindex and drop it. Your page is crawled, rendered, indexed. It's finally in the library. Does it rank now? No. Ranking hasn't even happened yet. Ranking only happens the moment someone searches. A person types a query and Google scans the index for matching pages, then orders them by hundreds of signals. How relevant the page is, how trustworthy. And context that has nothing to do with your page at all. The searcher's location, their language, their device. Two people can search the exact same words and see different results. So indexing gets you into the competition. Ranking is the competition itself. And it's rerun, fresh, for every single search. So pull all the way back. 3 gates. Crawling. Can Google reach the page? Indexing. Did Google understand it and store it? Ranking. Does it win a spot when someone searches? And here's the whole point. Each gate fails on its own, for its own reasons. When someone says, "My page isn't showing in Google," that is never just one problem. It's one of 3 completely different problems. Blocked from crawling. Crawled, but not indexed. Indexed, but not ranking. Different gate, different fix. The developers who debug this fast are the ones who ask one question first. Which gate am I stuck at? One last thing, because you'll hear it constantly: crawl budget. The idea that Google only gives your site so much crawling, so you'd better fight for every scrap. Here's the honest version. For most normal sized websites, crawl budget is rarely the first thing to blame. Google's own crawl budget guidance is aimed mainly at very large or rapidly changing sites. Think a million plus pages or tens of thousands changing every day. So, when an ordinary site has pages missing from Google, don't jump to budget. Check discovery, technical errors, duplicates, canonical signals, indexability, and content quality first. Don't fix a problem you don't have. So here's the model to keep: Google, finding your page, storing your page, and showing your page are three separate events, and any one of them can fail while the others work fine. Crawling, indexing, ranking. Three doors, not one. Before you touch a single SEO tactic, find out which door you're actually stuck at. Everything else is just guessing. Googlebot was our example, but other search engines run their own versions of the same crawling and indexing journey. If you like seeing what's actually happening underneath the web, the queues, the bots, the systems your code runs inside, subscribe. That's what we uncover here. Next time, we go inside the render step. Why Google can render your page and still see nothing. See you there.